Welcome to today's last webinar of 2025. We're very happy that Collaboard version 9 is here, and we will check together today the following new features. So we'll look at new features and optimizations. First of all, we introduced a few months ago the import feature from other whiteboards. This has become a very much used feature and it's super cool. This is why I would like to present this. Together with that, we also launched a new way to import PDFs into Collaboard. It's different to the upload, and I will explain you later why. We improved the lines. So these are the lines you can draw on the whiteboard, or also the connectors you can use to connect sticky notes or shapes on the board itself. We improved the speed. When you copy sticky notes, it's now almost immediately for all the users. We added a new follow a user feature. You might already know the get attention feature. So this is an upgrade to this one. You can't just grab the attention of other users, but you also have the option to follow a specific user on the whiteboard. Then we introduced a new option to convert objects into other objects, and maybe sounds abstract, but I will tell you why it's useful and why we did that. And then as one of the highlights from this last release, this is the Jira integration. So everybody who is using Jira Cloud can now connect Jira and Collaboard and add Jira issues directly to the board and work with them. We also implemented audit logs. I will talk about this as well a little bit. And then at the end of the session, we will have an outlook about what's going to come in the next year in Collaboard. So what can you look forward to? So this is on the table, and let's start right away with the import from other whiteboards. So we know we have Miro and Mural, which are, let's say, the most known and most used whiteboards at the moment. And we created a feature that allows you to import these whiteboards to Collaboard. But this doesn't just work for these two solutions. It also works for any other whiteboard solution where you can export a PDF in a vector format, for example, Microsoft Whiteboard and other tools. And you can bring your content inside into Collaboard. A sticky note becomes a sticky note in Collaboard. A text becomes an editable text in Collaboard. An image becomes an image. And the import service basically rebuilds the other whiteboard inside Collaboard, so you can continue working on that. And not to make it too abstract, let's just check an example together, and let me show you how it works. So basically, when go here to import from PDF. Now we can select Miro or Mural. So if you have an export from one of these solutions, then of course select this one. Now in my example, I have a very simple board, which I created in Miro, and which I'm importing now. So I'm selecting here this PDF, importing it to Collaboard, and you see here, the sticky notes become sticky notes, which I can edit in Collaboard. I can change the color. I can basically do any activity, any action on that sticky note, which has become a sticky note in Collaboard. Also, we copied the images, so I can you move the images around if this is something I would like to do. Or also the text elements become text elements inside the board. And of course, there is more that we are converting in a very nice way when adding it, importing it into Collaboard. But just to be 100% transparent, there are also some things, for example, when you import a mind map. So in this case, you see the mind map node becomes an image, or also the lines, in this case, they become real lines. So it depends a little bit. And when you move from another whiteboard to Collaboard, try out this new import feature, as it saves you a lot of time migrating content, and it can be usually done just with a few clicks. Now, this import also allows us to import other PDFs, and basically any PDF that is vector-based can be imported into Collaboard. And what we are doing, we are recognizing which elements are in this PDF. In most of the cases, it is text and images, and we rebuild it in Collaboard to work on that. So this works very well for flyers, for presentations, for example. So you can just import this content into Collaboard. And imagine now you have a corporate PowerPoint presentation where you also use a specific font. You export this as a PDF and you import it to Collaboard. And if you want to preserve the font, then you can upload to Collaboard your custom font. So every admin of your organization can upload any kind of custom fonts to Collaboard, which then becomes available. And when you import now a PDF export from your corporate presentation, the font is also respected and you can use it in Collaboard. Of course, it has some limitations and doesn't work always perfect, but it saves you also a lot of time and makes you and allows you to edit a PDF directly in Collaboard. And it's different to the feature here when you upload a PDF, because when you upload a PDF, we convert this into images and display it as images on the board. I also want to show you this live on an example. So I'm going here again to import from PDF. Now in this case, we select Other. And I have here one PDF, which is basically a white paper from us about the usage of Collaboard in public sector. So now I'm uploading this PDF. Collaboard is doing all the work in the background. And now we see PDF is being generated. It's added to Collaboard. And the cool thing is now, okay, here is an image. We can move the image around. Here is a text. Collaboard recognized the text, so I can change, for example, the color, or also these style elements here, they have been converted into shapes as well. So that's super cool and very useful. Imagine your marketing team working on a flyer collaboratively in Collaboard. You don't just need to upload this as a PDF. You can really import it and then start editing some of the content directly on the board itself. So this is about the new PDF import. So we have a speedy session today because there are a lot of things to show. But take it with you, this new import feature, the idea is basically to make it easy to switch from other tools, from Collaboard, or also if you have partners or clients working with other tools, and maybe you want to bring things inside Collaboard, that's now super easy. And this import PDF feature is just also a big time saver. That's the idea here. Now, the next thing I would like to show you are the improved lines. So the new lines we have in Collaboard, they are very flexible and they support you in doing flowcharts, diagrams, and any visualizations where you use lines. And these new lines are the lines on the board itself, but also the connectors. And let me also show you an example what I mean with that. So we go here to an empty area on the board. So let's say I'm adding 2 sticky notes. So here, one sticky note and another one. And now I can connect them with each other, right? So before it was like this. When I moved them around, Collaboard decided where the line breaks. But now you have here these waypoints on the line. So basically you have full freedom to adjust the lines based on what you would like to do. And imagine you're visualizing a path on Collaboard, maybe in a workshop going from one activity to another. So in this case, let's just make it the line a little bit bigger. And as we're following a path, let's maybe make it dashed. So now you already have the option to follow a path directly on the whiteboard. And then if you move it along, you have full flexibility on adjusting this line here. So this is with the Bezier lines in Collaboard, the curved ones. But this new feature is also available for the orthogonal lines. And they are, let's say, used more when we talk about diagramming or doing workflows. Let me make an example as well, adding two sticky notes, connecting them again. So no, we want to connect the sticky notes, okay. And now you see the line, I'm changing it to an orthogonal line. And here we have a very similar option. So now we can decide exactly how this connection should look like. We can adjust freely the line, and imagine you're drawing a workflow process in Collaboard. So being able to define where the line breaks and how it looks like provides you just much more freedom than before. So these are the new features we implemented for the line, basically to improve diagramming in Collaboard a lot. That's here the main idea. We got a lot of feedback regarding sticky notes and the speed to copying it. Imagine you're brainstorming, so you don't want to wait for a sticky note. You don't want to wait half a second. You don't want to wait quarter of a second. So the sticky note should be immediately here. So what we did, if we add a sticky note, and now if we copy it, you see there is no delay. So the sticky notes are appearing in real time, especially for the user who is doing it. It works for 5 sticky notes, for 10, for 15, for 100 sticky notes. So you see the result of the copy always immediately. Of course, if you copy 5,000 sticky notes on a board, then other people on the same board might need to wait a little bit until everything is synchronized. But the user experience for the user who is doing the copy now is much more seamless than it was before. Just a small improvement, but for people using a lot of sticky notes, I think it's a very big help. Then we introduced follow a user. So basically, every user can now follow another user on the board. And this is super useful when we think about workshop scenarios, either if they are fully online, if they are also in a hybrid scenario, or if you think about the meeting, that's useful. You can follow another user on the board. And for that, in the past, we were usually using this get attention feature. And the get attention feature is still there, but we have added some more visual feedback, so it's clearer that someone is let's say, wanting the attention of you. This is why we also moved the get attention feature from the facilitator tools up here. And let me just show you how you can follow a user. So in this case, we have 2 users on the board. I could now, let's say, get the attention from another user. Or what I could do, I could follow another user on the board. And let me just do that. So you already see the new visual feedback. And now if I'm moving with my other user on the board, you see now here, this user is following perfectly around. So this is the follow a user option. So every user can follow another user and so on. And you always see, okay, now I'm following this user. So that's one thing. And the get attention is now here. So get attention is a feature available for facilitators, and you can get the attention of all the users, direct them directly to one position on the board. And now, until they click stop, the user will follow you on the board after you clicked at get attention. And here the idea is just to streamline the workflows during a meeting and the workshop and make it more intuitive and accessible for people. As we have seen, a lot of users are using Collaboard not just to create together, but also to present what they have created on the board. And this is a super useful addition or improvement of the get attention feature, also adding the follow a user feature here directly on the board itself. Now, in the beginning, I said I will explain you why we added convert objects. So basically, the feature works like this. If I'm adding a sticky note here, I have here now the option to transform the sticky note into a shape, just into a text, into a task, or things like that. And the cool thing is, imagine you're writing text on a sticky note. Maybe you just wanted to brainstorm, add an idea, but then more and more information and ideas are coming. So your text is going to be longer and longer. So in this case, the sticky note is not the appropriate vehicle anymore to store this information. In this case, you just change the sticky note, for example, into a shape where you can add much more text, or you convert the sticky note into a text object. So super simple. Or even more useful, imagine you're doing a brainstorming session about your next project and you're adding a lot of ideas, and these ideas somehow become tasks. So in this case, you can add here the sticky note, write down your idea, and then, okay, let's convert it now into a task on the board. And then you can start using all the task-related features like assignee, due date, status, and things like that. Converting objects also works for shapes. So you a rectangle, you can convert it into a circle, and vice versa. And if you think now also about these import features I presented at the beginning, it's very useful because maybe the import from a specific other whiteboard solution doesn't provide you a sticky note. Maybe the Collaboard recognizes the sticky note as a rectangle shape with text, and then if you want to have it as a sticky note, you just can convert it, or vice versa. So this is these are the reasons why we introduced these new features to convert objects to each other and have just more flexibility on the canvas itself. Now, the next new feature I would like to introduce are shapes. So we already have shapes in Collaboard, but we always thought we would like to have more, and we would like to have much more. So what we did now in the first phase, we basically optimized here this view for the shapes. So you see here all the categories we have at the moment. And in the next step, so this will probably happen early January, we are going to add around 1,000 new shapes and also introduce a search for these new shapes. And our vision here is to allow our users just to create things in a creative way directly on the board and not having the need to copy shapes from somewhere else. So adding these over 1,000 new shapes will just allow you to design things on the board in a much smoother way. So we prepared a lot of things, but it's a feature we're going to ship with release at the beginning of January 2026. Yeah, last but not least, so we're almost coming to the end, and the highlight feature, the Jira integration. We are also added audit logs to Collaboard, and you can imagine it like this. So we have detailed logs for all the activities happening on the whiteboard itself. So you see which user created a sticky note, which user deleted the sticky note, and in case you as the board owner or a facilitator want to restore the deleted content from other users, you can do this as well via the activity logbook. So that's super useful, but this is more about the content on the board itself. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to also log the activities that are happening not on the board, around Collaboard. Let's say, when did the user log in? When did someone changed, for example, the logo of the branding, and many other of these activities. So we already started collecting these audit logs, and then beginning in January, it will be also possible for admins to download these logs directly from the settings from within Collaboard. And in the end, the idea is to have much more transparency, especially for enterprise customers who are needing features like that for compliance reasons and also for security reasons. So this is why we introduced the audit logs to Collaboard. Now, let's talk about the Jira integration. Maybe you already have spotted that I have here on the bottom left a new button. And this allows me to connect Collaboard with Jira. So this is done very easily via the settings. You just log into Jira in the same browser. You connect the both solution with each other, and then you can sync Jira issues and put them directly on your board. And I will show you how this works. Now, the super cool thing is that if you change something in a Jira issue on the whiteboard, could it be the title, the description, an assignee, or something like that, then this is automatically synced with Jira. We introduced a so-called bidirectional interface, a bidirectional sync, so that all changes made in Collaboard are synced with Jira and vice versa. So imagine you are using Jira for ticket management or project planning. So in this case, if you are visualizing these tickets on Collaboard, where I believe this is one of the biggest benefits, having a different way to visualize these issues directly inside the whiteboard. And then when you change it in Jira, you will see the result immediately in Collaboard as well. But let's have a look on how this works. I already connected it. I connected Collaboard to Jira. So this is a task admins of your organizations can do. And if you have done that, you can click here. And now you will see an overview of all the Jira issues that are in your Jira instance. In this case, it's a demo instance. This is why there aren't a lot. But imagine you have a lot of requests, for example, then you have a search. So you can search here for these Jira issues, or you can also use the Jira query language, basically, to use here this query language to select especially these issues you would like to see and that are the ones you would like to put on the whiteboard. Now, in our case, let's just take these all here because there aren't that many in this demo environment, add it to the board, and voila, here you see we have the Jira issues directly inside Collaboard. They look very similar to the task object, so we didn't really change the logic and the user interface here. But you see on top, this is an empty task object, while the other one below is already pre-populated with the content of the issue created in Jira. So now what we see here, we have the title. So the navigation light on my spaceship is blue. We see, okay, it has a status waiting for support, and it's unassigned. If I want to see now some more details of this Jira issue, I can just click here. And now we see again, okay, it's a service request. Here we see, again, the summary, the description, we see the status. And we could, for example, directly change the status here in Collaboard. This is something we could do. We can change the assignee, add the due date, and so on. Now, if you would like to refine this issue in Collaboard, in Jira, I could go to Jira, log in, and go to that specific Jira ticket. Or on the other side, I can just click here on this icon, and now I'm doing the following thing, and opening this exact issue inside the Jira board, inside Jira, and you say, okay, the navigation light on my spaceship is blue. Let's say blue is not really the Collaboard color, so let's change it to green. We do that, go back to Collaboard, and you see immediately we have to change here. And this works the other way around. So let's say maybe it's not green, it's yellow. We do the changes here, update it, go back to Jira, and we see it's immediately synced. So this is what I mean. So if you change something in one system, then it's immediately visible into the other system as well. Yeah, this is the new Jira integration in Collaboard. So it allows you to build your own Kanban boards. It allows you to create more transparency on projects. And I think one of the biggest benefits here is that you can create more transparency for all of the stakeholders involved in a project, because everybody can log into Collaboard. Collaboard is easy to use, it's intuitive, It has less complexity than Jira, and everybody can see the status of tickets directly on the board. And this allows you just to create more transparency for all stakeholders, especially also management, directly on the board itself. It's a feature we wanted to do for a long time, and I'm very happy that it turned out that well. And it's available for all the users having an advanced or enterprise subscription. Yeah, and this is what happened just in the last few months. Now, let's get a glimpse on what we have planned for next year. So, as I already mentioned, we are going to populate this new layout of the shapes with a lot of new shapes. We're also introducing the search for the shapes. And then as a next steps, this was a highly requested feature, we're introducing a chat for the board. So every whiteboard will have his own global chat, which I can use then to chat with my peers when everybody is on the board. Maybe you don't need or want to start a video conference. So in this case, you can chat directly on the board itself and use this for just a faster and more text-oriented communication as addition to the visual communication and collaboration you anyway have in the whiteboard. We are also going to improve the task management. So we introduced tasks a few, let's say, I think before summer into Collaboard. And based on all the feedback, we are building now a dashboard where you can get an overview about all the tasks assigned to you across all of your boards. So this will allow you to manage especially simple and shorter projects in a more easier way directly on the board as well. And last but not least, we are also improving the user management for admins. That has also been a request from many customers. So the admins, for example, are able to delete users inside their tenant and just working on this improved user management as well. And this is what we have planned for the first months of 2026. And of course, there are many more things to come next year as we are continuously evolving Collaboard and bringing new features and new improvements. And saying that, adding these new things is only possible thanks to all of you. So thank you, everybody who is using Collaboard. Thanks to all the organizations who have chosen Collaboard as their primary whiteboard solution. And thanks also to your feedback. We are able to evolve and improve Collaboard with every release. And now it's time to wish you all happy holidays and happy new year. And thank you for joining today. I hope you enjoyed the new features, and I'm sure we will see each other again in the new year.